Tonight on News 5 Live, the murder of an elderly woman in Dangriga over 2 months ago leads to the arrest of a 19-year-old suspect. The Ministry of Infrastructure Development and Housing takes possession of Philip Goson's bus for immediate repair. Embattled politician Andre Perez, what's the latest on his leave of absence? And in tonight's episode of the 5-Point Breakdown, we look at period poverty and its effect amid the crushing inflation. These stories and more coming up on News 5 Live.
My beautiful Belize, my land of the free, my home and it's bound by the Caribbean Sea. Belize, we are free and independent, we're free and independent, free and independent, to be whatever you wanna be, free and independent, we're free and independent, free and independent, we're changing our country, we're free, so make we celebrate with smart, come celebrate with smart, make we celebrate with smart. Let's celebrate with smart. So make we celebrate with smart. Come celebrate with smart. Make we celebrate with smart. Let's celebrate with smart.
The entire Smart family wishes all Belizeans a safe and happy September celebrations. Smart, bringing people together.
Keycaulker, San Pedro, and Belize City are just a click away with Caribbean Sprinter. Avoid delays by getting your tickets and boarding passes online at sprinter.bz and welcome aboard.
My Social Security is your secure online account to manage all your social security information. My Social Security launched in March 2021 with registration service to apply online for new or replacement social security cards. Upgrades to My Social Security continues with a new look, enhanced customer experience, and its newest feature, Sickness Benefit Online Application. With My Social Security, You can create your account, log in, and take control of your Social Security information. This includes applying for a new or replacement Social Security card for yourself, child, or dependent. Make appointments online and submit your complete sickness benefit claim package. Our customer care team is here to provide you, our valued customers, with real-time support. Connect with one of our customer care agents through direct messages on WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, or live chat, or follow our YouTube channel for more information. Social Security at your fingertips. My Social Security.
This newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Wednesday, September 13th. I am Sabrina Daly. In early July, there was a murder of an elderly woman in Dangriga that slipped under the radar when it was classified as a death investigation and didn't garner much media attention. But on Tuesday of this week, when police informed that they had charged someone with murder in connection with the incident, it raised a few eyebrows. The murder occurred inside the victim's house on Magoon Street, and while the arrest offers little comfort to her family, they were quietly hoping that at least the person responsible would be brought to justice. As they told us today, their loved one, 79-year-old Juliana Reese, lived alone and was trusting and giving to the family of the youth who stands accused of her murder. News 5's Marion Ali reports.
Yesterday, I felt so bad. I felt so depressed when I heard the news. I was disappointed. I was ashamed of what I heard.
Ashamed is what Cecilia Serrano feels, not for her deceased sister or her family still mourning their loss, but for the person who is charged with the murder. Serrano told News 5 today that her sister, 79-year-old Juliana Reese, was a kind person to the family of the youth who police have charged with her murder.
I know he was close with her. He used to go there. His mother would send him over and give her food because, you know, she was taking good care of her. She was doing her laundry, especially after her house burned. She had moved over there to stay with her. And she was doing things for her, wash her clothes, cook for her. And after she moved, she still sent food for her.
Serrano's husband, Rudolph, says the family, as do the police, believes the motive of the homicide was robbery.
They suspected robbery.
Were things missing from the house?
Yes, there was stuff missing, especially from her personal purse,
Money.
her bag. They suspected it could have been money.
Reese's body was discovered inside her house on the morning of July 5th, some days after she was last seen alive. Her church sister and neighbor told us off camera that they were close and that they were there for each other.
We have neighborhood watch. We always keep an eye on our neighbors. And whenever I go out, I ask if she needs anything. And when we go to church, we go together. I give her a ride. She was with me when my mom died. She stayed with us for a while. As a good friend, a good neighbor, we miss her.
The family had been trying to reach the deceased, and when no one had seen her, her brother-in-law decided to go and check.
First, I approached a neighbor across the street, and I asked her if she had seen her. And she said, no, I haven't seen her a couple of days, but maybe it's because of the weather, because we had some severe weather around that time. So, leaving her house, I went into the yard, and then I saw my sister-in-law's cane at the foot of the stairs. So right away I knew that she was inside the house. So I took the cane and I went up to the porch and started dropping on the blinds. But then I noticed a lot of houseflies, coming out of the window. And I realized that the odor, there was something definitely wrong. So I called the police and they came and they sent for the specialists and broke open the door. And when they opened the door, they found the body.
The post-mortem examination revealed that Reese was stabbed multiple times to the neck. And on Tuesday of this week, police formally arrested and charged 19-year-old Essene Jabari Castillo with her murder. Reporting for News 5, I'm Marion Ali.
For the past decade, a bust of one of Belize's national heroes had been erected at the entrance to the Philip Gosen Highway adjacent to the Flag Monument roundabout in Belize City. But on Saturday morning, two vehicles crashed into the Philip Gosen bust, damaging the sculpture itself, as well as the foundation upon which it rested. Police arrived shortly after to process the scene of the incident. Today, the damaged bust was removed from the location and taken over by the Ministry of Infrastructure Development and Housing. Ministry officials have since been in contact with sculptor Stephen Okeke for an estimate to repair the bust so that it can be reinstalled.
Myself and Minister Spot and COS Spot, we had an internal discussion where we thought it was important for us to try and see if we could get it repaired. Yes, we weren't the ministry that got it installed. However, it's located at the entrance of the Philip Gosen Highway. And we're all aware that Mr. Gosen was one of our national heroes. And so we thought that it was best in our internal discussions between, as I said, between the minister, myself and the CEO, for us to try and get it repaired. So what we did, we initiated a team in Belize City to remove it from where it was at the entrance to Belize City. And so we've took it to our site in Ladyville. And so we've covered it up and have it secured there. I also initiated discussions with Mr. Okeke. I was able to contact him this afternoon and try and open a discussion with him to see if he would be willing to assist us in getting it repaired. He was the sculptor. He was the person that dealt with the sculpture, and so we thought it was best for us to liaise with him to get it repaired. So based on my discussions with him, I'm expecting to get an update from him on Friday with respect to what it would cost for us to do the repairs and to get it reestablished back to its position.
Chief Engineer Evondale Moody says that more than likely the cost of the repairs will come from the MIDH's budget. Moody says that even though the bust of the national hero was desecrated, it is a blessing in disguise of sorts, because had the pillar to the overpass been damaged, the structure would have been unsafe and in need of serious repairs.
On the 9th day of September 2023, there was a RTA by the Flag Monument. Information received that one Mervyn Domingo was driving a van and Elohio Solis was driving a car when they were involved in a traffic accident.
Bolted down to the foundation because it was easily topped over because of the vehicle that did the damage. But based on that, at least I could say one good thing that came out of that is that the vehicle did not damage the pier structure for the overpass, because that would have been even worse. Because if that was damaged, then more than likely we would have some kind of structural failure to the overpass, which would cost us as the ministry more to do that repair. So it's kind of like a blessing in disguise, but we know that we still have to carry out the repairs for the bus, just out of respect that we have for our national hero.
Tonight, as part of the September celebrations calendar, 25 men and women regarded as Belizean patriots will be formally recognized by the government of Belize. Included among this year's cohort of honorees is former U.S. President Jimmy Carter, upon whom the Order of Belize will be bestowed. Several posthumous awards will also be bestowed in recognition of the late Gwendolyn Lizarraga, a Belizean businesswoman, politician, and women's rights activist. Earlier today, we spoke with Cabinet Secretary Stuart Leslie about the class of 2023.
From what we are being told, the weather is supposed to, the rain should stop and we should have a beautiful setting tonight, right at the foot of the Supreme Court building, where 25 honorees will receive awards for meritorious service, distinguished service, and for the Order of Belize. For the Order of Belize, last year, if you will recall, the Cabinet had approved, and with the Governor General's assent, the conferral of the Order of Belize on former U.S. President Jimmy Carter. His daughter arrived in country yesterday, and so we're going to confer that degree on her tonight. And of course, we are very proud to also confer posthumously an Order of Belize on Madame Liz. Everybody knows the famous Madame Liz, the first woman to be a Minister of Cabinet, first woman to be Minister of Education. So tonight we will confer the degree on her posthumously. And we have meritorious awards in areas like for environmental work in the environment. We have in education, and we have 11 women and 11 men getting awards of merit in those areas, also for community outreach from all 6 districts. And then the Order of Distinction is going to be conferred on a former president of St. John's College, Father Leo Weber. And so those are the awards that will be handed out tonight by Her Excellency the Governor General.
Coming up, St. Francis Xavier Credit Union takes Registrar of Credit Unions to court. We'll have more details when we come back.
Guinness Sounds of Greatness presents the 9th Annual Soca and Culture Fest, Wednesday, September 20th at the Belize Civic Center. The Caribbean Queen of Soca, Patrice Roberts, with her band. I go drink water and mind my business. Meets the King of Dancehall, Beanie Man, with his band. Who got the keys to my about road? Wednesday, September 20th at the Belize Civic Center. Patrice Roberts meets Beanie Man. Sponsored by
DigiWallet subscribers, are you ready to spread your wings and explore the USA? For just $10, you could be on your way to an unforgettable journey. Check out DigiWallet's marketplace in the mobile app for a chance to win a round-trip ticket valued up to $700 to anywhere in the USA. Spread your wings with DigiWallet today. Atlantic Insurance informs our valued customers and the general public that effective September 18th, 2023, our corporate headquarters and Belcan branch will be moving. Our new location, the Atlantic Insurance Tower, located at 2.5 miles Philip Wilson Highway. All our phone numbers will remain the same. Our Colette and Albert branches will remain at their existing locations. Join the Atlantic Insurance family today and experience the future of insurance. Atlantic Insurance, insuring you from life's unexpected.
Prime Minister John Briceño, you know that in April your Customs Department destroyed 2 containers of fake, illegal Nike Air Jordans valued at $1 million. You know those containers were consigned to a company owned by Mr. Gulab Sharma. You know that this is now on the radar of the United States government. You also know that Gulab Sharma's company, Portico, signed an illegal and fraudulent definitive agreement with Minister Erwin Contreras. Yet you and Chris Koyi are hell-bent on passing a special law that will give Gulab Sharma's company Portico tens of millions in tax benefits. Why, Prime Minister? If you won't explain it to the Belizean people, maybe you'll explain it to the Senate committee.
Taking its name from the venerable father of the nation, The George Price Highway stretches 77 miles from Belize City to Benqueviejo. Originally built in the 1930s, this cross-country highway system is the artery that links Belize to Central America at the western border with Guatemala. That connection facilitates overland trade, supporting Belize's economic development. Winding its way across the scenic countryside, the George Price Highway from Roaring Creek to Esperanza has been fully reconstructed to meet international standards, with particular emphasis on road safety. A shorter and hassle-free commute is best enjoyed when everyone obeys the traffic laws. To reduce the number and frequency of road traffic accidents, it means that a seatbelt must be worn at all times and the speed limit observed when traveling along the highway. It also means that pedestrians must use sidewalks and crosswalks where available. Buses should only board and discharge passengers at a designated bus stop. Road safety is everyone's responsibility. It begins with you.
Bicycle, bicycle. I want to ride my bicycle, bicycle.
The Cycling Federation of Belize and the Belize Tourism Board invites you to come out for the high-speed, fast-cornering crit racing. It's the September Criterium Classic on Sunday, September 17th, starting at 10 a.m. The start and finish line will be in front of BTB's office on Regent Street, and the race circuit will be laps around Albert and Regent Streets. Races start with all the kids groups at 10 a.m., followed by high school boys and girls, then Women Elite, Club Masters, then Junior and Youth, and last but definitely not least, the spectacular primetime race with the elite men. You don't want to miss this. There will be thousands of dollars in prize giveaways to the winners, medals, trophies, and cash. He gets something, she gets something, and they get something. Food and drinks will be on sale, so come out and support the cyclists on Sunday, September 17th, starting at 10 a.m. outside the BTB office on Regent Street. Or catch it live on the Cycling Federation's Facebook pages. In partnership with the Belize Tourism Board, the Cycling Federation of Belize wants to know, Belize, are you ready?
Here you go, babe.
Thanks, babe. How did it go? Good?
It was good.
Gal, I think it'll get hard out there.
I think I should go close the window.
Don't let this happen to you. At Design Depot, we have Oran windows, exactly what you need to weather any storm and keep you safe. With Oran, you get strength, durability, and security. Oran features a strong double latch that closes securely, all at an affordable price only at Design Depot. With Oran, you'll always be safe.
Cut the cords. Choose efficiency with Axix Switch technology. Only at Benny's. Quality and savings.
St. Francis Xavier Credit Union remains under the administration of an experienced banker appointed by the Registrar of Credit Unions. That individual is responsible for oversight of the day-to-day operations of the lending institution in Corozal Town. But the appointment is not without controversy, and a lawsuit is presently before the High Court in respect of the Registrar's decision to hire an administrator. The duly elected board of directors, as well as the general manager of the credit union, are represented by senior counsel Dean Barrow.
Well, our clients, who are the board of directors and the general manager of St. Francis Xavier Credit Union, were greatly aggrieved by the action of the registrar, who is the governor of the central bank. Our clients accept that there were problems, but felt that the registrar had already taken action to deal with those problems. The registrar had, for some time before he appointed the administrator, embedded examiners from the central bank at the main office of SFX CU to supervise the process and to implement the corrective measures that the registrar had specified. So, in the opinion of our clients, there was no need for the registrar to appoint an administrator. This is their grievance. They feel is especially strong for two reasons. Number one, the appointment of the administrator did away with the board. When the administration is ended, whenever that will be, then the board can reassume office. Fortunately, since the appointment will last at least a year, fortunately the board is elected not on an annual basis, but I think it's triennial. Because if it had been on an annual basis, by the time the administration would have ended, the board would have had no chance to reassume office.
According to SFX-CU's attorney, the administrator is being paid handsomely at the credit union's expense. Barrow says the central bank appointed manager receives a monthly salary upwards of $16,000. He also said that the institution was denied due process prior to the registrar's decision to install an administrator.
The regulator, the registrar, must be very certain that there is no other option, because you cannot easily displace the results of a franchise exercised by the membership, by the owners of the credit union. So that's number one. And number two, the costs of the administration is borne by the funds of the credit union. So, if I recollect correctly, the administrator was being paid, or is being paid, something like $16,000 per month, apart from expenses. Now, we were never able to find out what the expenses were and what quantum of reimbursement or what quantum of financial allocation was given on top of the $16,000 per month to the administrator. But if you're going to saddle the credit union with this extremely costly exercise of administration, again, as regulator, you need to be absolutely sure that that is your only option. And our people feel strongly that it was not the registrar's option. So we're saying that appointment was disproportionate. We're also saying the credit union was not afforded due process, that the registrar was going back and forth with the credit union, with the board and with the management, true. But at no point did he say, you know what? You people refuse to straighten up and fly right. I'm telling you, I'm going to appoint an administrator unless you can show me why I should not.
Belize Rural South Area Representative Andre Perez remains on a leave of absence as an investigation into a sex scandal involving the cabinet minister is being concluded. On August 21st, Prime Minister John Briceño accepted a request from Perez and granted permission for the besieged Minister of Blue Economy to take time off from work amid public outrage over an alleged dalliance he had with a resident of Keekauker. When the scandal broke last month, the Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs was tasked with investigating the matter and advised the PM on whether there was any actionable wrongdoing. When we caught up with Cabinet Secretary Stuart Leslie this afternoon, we asked for an update on the investigation.
If you will recall, when Minister Perez asked the Prime Minister for a leave of absence from the Cabinet, the Prime Minister then met with Cabinet, and coming out of Cabinet was a decision that the Attorney General would investigate if there was any wrongdoing involved in this incident. Indeed, Minister Perez has already apologized to his wife, to his Cabinet, to his constituency, and pretty much to the nation. And so that time span, and that has not expired yet. I think the time limit was given as about around a month. And so in a couple of weeks' time, I am sure that the Attorney General will have something to update Cabinet on where his office is in terms of that investigation.
Where do you stand on the matter, considering the fact that it can be argued from perhaps a moral and an ethical standpoint in terms of the allegations back and forth between himself and Ms. Axelu, considering the fact that he is a public figure, he is an elected official?
A former politician once said, you can't kill a man 2 times. I think Minister Perez has apologized more than once. I know for sure he's apologized through his statement, and he has apologized, he said, to his family. He apologized to his Cabinet. And that is as far as I am able to go. As a human being, I feel for him, I feel for his family and for his children. Minister Perez is a personal friend that I know very well, and so it is not for me to judge him, it is only for me to try and support him as a friend. But in my responsibility as a Cabinet Secretary, I am only allowed to report what Cabinet is doing. And so in that respect, I can't have an opinion on the other side of things. That will come out in the investigation that the Cabinet has ordered.
Prime Minister John Briceño met with the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry this afternoon here in Belize City to discuss a number of issues pertaining to the rising cost of living. It is the second in a series of discussions with the private sector organization in an effort to address serious concerns regarding inflation and price gouging.
You know, there is this continuing discussion in Cabinet. Every Tuesday, the ministers discuss, and it goes on sometimes for hours, addressing the issue of cost of living. What more can the government do to help ease the cost of living. And I know it's easy to beat up every time you go to the store and you see the price of this going up and the price of that going up, but just about everything that we produce locally or that comes in from abroad has inputs that comes from somewhere. And so because Belize buys so much from the United States, we import inflation. And so the cost of living is something that we try as best as possible to control. For example, the government subsidizes fuel. The government has tried to subsidize the farmers by giving $1 million worth of fuel to help the large portion of the Orange Walk cane farmers, the BSCFA. They've allowed other subsidies in places to try and keep the cost of living down. Now, one thing that the government did was to meet with the retailers and say to them, look, we're coming after you on price gouging. We're not going to allow you to gouge the Belizean people. We're going to put inspection in place.
Against the backdrop of that meeting is a list of food items that the government of Belize has chosen to regulate prices in an effort to provide some level of relief for the cost of living and improve the quality of life for Belizeans. It has been met with pushback by the private sector. But in a one-on-one interview with Minister of Human Development Dolores Balderramos Garcia, she says it is the responsible thing to do as a government.
The Prime Minister, Minister Chris Coie, Minister Abimai, all of us are aware that there has been some pushback on the part of the business community not wanting to see the price regulation on the basket of food items and non-food items. Now, we haven't done it in a way where there has been absolutely no consultation. There has been consultation, but the government has to be the one to make the policy. And if it were left to the importers, the wholesalers, and the retailers, all their markups would just continue. Now, as government being responsible and addressing the high cost of living, the skyrocketing in some cases, cost of living, we have to do what we believe is the responsible thing. And the responsible thing is for us, maybe not on a permanent basis, but at least a measure that we can carry out for a period of time in consultation with the business community, etc. Let's give it a try. Let's give it a try. But it will mean that we have to be serious about the monitoring and about the policing.
The Belize Territorial Volunteers visited Sarstoon Island on Sunday, where they planted several Belizean flags on the island. The grassroots organization has been doing so for the past 14 years, and this year was no different. They were met with hostility by the Guatemalan Armed Forces. News 5 asked Ambassador Stuart Leslie for his reaction on the latest encounter.
Every Belizean should be allowed the right to go to any part of this country. And so let's start by that. This is something that I think the territorial volunteers have been doing for some years now, and each time they go there, we have some kind of encounter, some kind of run-in with the Guatemalan authorities. I was pleased.
Was well represented. I feel good.
To read on Channel 5 News that what the Guatemalans allowed them to go on the island to do what they did, to do their thing, to sing the national anthem, and later they collected the flags and returned it back to us. Whether a protest note was delivered to the Guatemalans by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I'm not aware. I can try to find out and get back to you. I can ask Minister Courtney or COMI. But I felt that they were given the opportunity to exercise their right to go out there and demonstrate their patriotism in their way without having any serious encounters with the Guatemalans. But this is why we need to put an end to this problem. This is why we need to get this decision from the ICJ so that we can have all our borders clearly defined by the international community so that nobody can dispute, no country, no person can dispute this, and we can fix this and move on with our lives living side by side with our neighbor.
After the break, the 5-point breakdown. Don't tax my femininity, realized. We'll tell you about that, but first, here's the weather update with data from the Belize Met Service.
in exercise of the power conferred upon it by Section 7 of the Electricity Act, Chapter 221 of the Laws of Belize, and with the approval of the Minister, the Public Utilities Commission PUC, the Commission hereby notifies the general public that it intends to enact a bylaw in relation to electricity procurement and power purchase. The bylaw shall govern the procurement processes for wholesale, distributed energy resources, and short-term power purchases by addressing the roles of the Commission and the utilities. The bylaw seeks to secure public welfare, national security, and services at the best value for money. Further clarify the exercise by the Commission of its duties under the Public Utilities Commission Act and Electricity Act. Provide for increased conservation and efficiency of electricity resources by utilities and equitable retail rates for consumers, and detail the RFP and PPA processes. Regulatory tools to achieve the Commission's public interest mandate.
In April, the Customs Enforcement Unit intercepted 2 containers of fake Nike Air Jordans imported into the Corozal Free Zone from China. The 2 containers, valued at $500,000, were consigned to a company owned by this man, Mr. Gulab Sharma. Yes, this is the same Gulab Sharma involved with the dirty definitive agreement. The same Gulab Sharma behind the Portico project that will destroy 1,000 acres of pristine mangroves. But the Customs Department refused to condone his illegal activity. They burnt the 2 containers of fake illegal Air Jordans. Belizeans are wondering what the U.S. Embassy in Belize will make of this flagrant attempt to infringe trademark laws. What will they make of a government that is now crafting special legislation for this same Gulab?
You have the right to your life. It's clearly the most important right. If you don't have your life, you don't have nothing. You have a right to your freedom, to your liberty. You are entitled to the protection of the law. Every one of you, to every law will exist. The rule of law in our nation is that everybody is equal in the sight of the law and must be treated equally. You have to have freedom of movement. Anybody could jump in any boat, any bus, and go anywhere they want in this country. Nobody can stop and say, but you're from Corozal, where did you do that? No. We are free to move any way we want to. We are free to exercise our conscience. You know how much people I meet that don't have no conscience? I think they're not sure that there's a word like conscience. You have a conscience, don't get confused. You have a God and have a conscience.
This ad is brought to you by the People's Constitution Commission.
cut the cords. Choose efficiency with Axix Switch technology. Only at Benny's. Quality and savings.
Prime Minister John Briceño, you know that in April your Customs Department destroyed 2 containers of fake, illegal Nike Air Jordans valued at $1 million. You know those containers were consigned to a company owned by Mr. Gulab Sharma. You know that this is now on the radar of the United States government. You also know that Gulab Sharma's company, Portico, signed an illegal and fraudulent definitive agreement with Minister Erwin Contreras. Yet you and Chris Koyi are hell-bent on passing a special law that will give Gulab Sharma's company, Portico, tens of millions in tax benefits. Why, Prime Minister? If you won't explain it to the Belizean people, maybe you'll explain it to the Senate committee.
It was a process that began earlier this year and will now see the cost of sanitary pads and other feminine products reduced in stores nationwide. The Don't Tax My Femininity campaign was able to get the attention of policymakers who have since removed all taxes from these products. But it is only just taking full effect now. So why is this important? In tonight's 5-point breakdown, News 5's Dwayne Moody looks at period poverty and the steps the country has taken to improve the quality of life for women and girls, and by extension, the household, on this monthly expense.
It was actually one of the cheapest packs of pads on the aisle, and immediately I was like, wow, imagine that. It never crossed my mind that there were women out here in Belize who are unable to afford the pads that they need.
While being abroad, I was a student. I self-financed my master's, right? So budgeting was very important. Each month I faced my menstruation, and I just thought that I could have financed well with the price decrease in Taiwan. So when I came back home unemployed, I was like, whoa, how is it so expensive here?
It is something that for some is taken for granted, that because you can afford it, everybody else can. But the struggle of women and girls to afford sanitary pads or feminine products during their menstrual cycle is a global human rights issue. This increased vulnerability that they face due to financial burden posed by menstrual supplies is referred to as period poverty.
In Southern Africa, I am told, and perhaps in all of Africa, depending on your socioeconomic position, many women, now Africa is a huge continent, so I don't want to generalize. However, we are told that many women on the continent of Africa cannot afford sanitary pads, napkins, tampons, and things like that.
In Belize, there is a wide variety of these menstrual products available across supermarkets and community stores. Based on the specific brand and quality of the product that is preferred or cheaper on the pocket, it can range anywhere from $4 to $25 per pack. It's a monthly cost, very much like a utility bill, and is a greater expense depending on the number of women or girls in the household who are in need of these products. Using her own experience and realizing that so many low-income women and girls are facing similar situations, Saidi Quetzal launched a campaign. Don't Tax My Femininity sought to bring relief to all households.
During the research, I asked how much packs do you use, so it could give me a sense of direction. So some of them would use 3 packs for the week, which is also encouraged by health officials to change your pad at least 3 hours. But some women were like, Miss, if I don't have the finance, I will just keep it for all day. So it also goes back to hygiene, very, very important.
The message did not fall on deaf ears, and Prime Minister John Briceño announced that effective April 1st, not only the general sales tax of 12.5%, but all other taxes were to be removed from feminine products. This includes the 3% environmental tax, as well as the 20% import duty, totaling 35.5% in taxes being removed. Belize is now the 4th Caribbean country to remove taxes from sanitary products.
While we think globally, we act locally. And the government of Belize earlier this year saw it fit to remove all the taxes on feminine products, as we call it. Now, a lot of people are responsible for us having made that move. The government doesn't take all the credit. We had young Sadie Quetzal, we had Ms. Taya Garcia Ramirez, we had the special envoy, we had a lot of help. And of course, I use an American football analogy. Everybody worked on it, they bring up the ball, and then I only had to grab the ball and do the touchdown.
But while April 1st was the start date, the statutory instrument was only just ratified by the Senate less than a month ago, on August 16th. Minister of Human Development Dolores Balderramos Garcia says that it is now about effectively implementing and enforcing this law.
It was something good that happened. However, we were not able to implement it immediately because since we are a member of CARICOM and you have the common external tariff arrangements, we actually had to get permission from our CARICOM partners because of the Treaty of Chaguaramas. Now that the move has been passed not only in the House but also in the Senate, we are at a stage now where we can actually implement. And we should see the cost go down. If you do not see the cost going down, and appealing to everybody, but especially we women who have to use the products, monitor it. Be your own police. If it cost X amount 3 or 4 months ago, and now we're getting into the phase of implementation, then let's make sure that the cost has gone down because all taxes were removed.
Let's put at a benchmark of $12 you spend. That's one pack. That's one pack that only brings 8 to 10. And then you have to buy 3 packs. So if we divide maybe at least $40, we do that. And then when we remove the 40 from the 35.5%, you at least save $15.
This conversation for many is considered a sensitive issue as it involves the natural process of the female body. But it should not be limited to only women and girls. As men with mothers, wives, and daughters, this is also important.
In Belize, it's something never spoken about, but why? Up to today, maybe we just relate it back to culture, to why it's not spoken about. But it also, maybe no one has opened the conversation. We had few instances in the school, but then you go back home, then you have a father who doesn't want to talk about it. And then it goes back to, it's a hush-hush conversation because we don't talk about it at the dining table.
There are several organizations that have come out to assist those in need. Belize City resident Kaylin Middleton successfully organized a pad drive and was able to assist the Jane Usher community. She quickly realized the extent of the issue on the ground.
Very, very huge need, and it surprised me even more. You know, seeing 2 girls in a store versus multiple households in a neighborhood that has a demand for menstrual products, it really shocked me. I just received a huge donation from Palote High School, about 4 or 5 garbage bags filled with pads, individual pads, so I'm tasked with actually packaging, yes, each of them.
Quetzal, on the other hand, was able to partner with several organizations to provide sanitary pads to schools in the South.
For World Menstruation Day, we donated through all the schools down south pads from first farm to third farm. So that was huge. That was a collaboration with the Strong Foundation and Special Envoy. So we really want to keep the girls in school as well. Sometimes they don't have the resources. simple pad to attend school, and that will hinder them from learning on that day, or maybe 3 days if they don't have.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
When we return, Reef Village sues GOB for compulsory land acquisition.
It seems like every other day, we hear of a family member or friend being diagnosed with a serious illness such as cancer, heart attack, kidney failure, or stroke. When these illnesses strike, you want to focus on recovery and your overall well-being. At RFNG Life Insurance, we offer critical illness insurance to help with medical expenses when diagnosed with such critical illnesses, providing security to access quality healthcare facilities and to ease the worry about finances. In case you are diagnosed with a life-threatening illness that is covered by the policy, critical illness insurance pays you a lump sum amount to help you obtain access to quality treatment and medication. Having critical illness insurance provides the financial support that will bring you and your family the security and peace of mind necessary to manage these illnesses. The possibility of being diagnosed can be worrying, but by having a critical illness plan, you could have funds to assist with expenses such as medications, hospital deductibles, childcare, household expenses, and so much more. The right time to plan for the unexpected is when you're healthy. For more information, visit our office today to speak with one of our experienced agents about critical illness insurance. Your health and wellness is what matters most. Take care of it.
Make your summer better. Over $30,000 in cash and prizes with Smart Summer Sweepstakes. Here's how you can enter for a chance to win. Sign up for a smart postpaid, broadband, or VoIP plan. Use $100 or more regular prepaid credit. Do a SIM swap or text in to the short code 786. In the body of the message, enter the number of entries you would like to purchase.
No waste no time. You can be the winner of weekly prizes. All methods give you more chances to win local airline tickets, overnight stays at numerous resorts, cash prizes, gift certificates, and much, much more. One lucky person will win the grand prize valued at $10,000, courtesy of Smart and the Belize Tourism Board.
Promotion ends September 15th. So make your summer better by getting in the race to win with Smart's Summer Sweepstakes. Smart, bringing people together.
Prime Minister John Briceño, you know that in April your Customs Department destroyed 2 containers of fake, illegal Nike Air Jordans valued at $1 million. You know those containers were consigned to a company owned by Mr. Gulab Sharma. You know that this is now on the radar of the United States government. You also know that Gulab Sharma's company, Portico, signed an illegal and fraudulent definitive agreement with Minister Erwin Contreras. Yet you and Chris Koyi are hell-bent on passing a special law that will give Gulab Sharma's company Portico tens of millions in tax benefits. Why, Prime Minister? If you won't explain it to the Belizean people, maybe you'll explain it to the Senate committee.
Oh my lord, it's that time once again for Panyard, pulsating steel pan music for everyone. And it's all a part of the September celebration, showcasing all the prime time steel pan artists and bands: Pantempters, Pandemonium, Panerifics, Amolia Hossein, St. John's College, University of Belize, Pan de Sea, Grace Primary, Alex Evans, and a host of guest artists. Panyard 23, sponsored by NIT, Honorable Francis Fonseca, and National Celebrations Commission. Hosted by yours truly, Tara G, on the MIC. It's all happening on Saturday, September 16 at Belize City's House of Culture, beginning at 7 at night. Tickets available in advance at the Bliss Box office. Adults $15 and children pay only $5. Just call 227-2110. Whether you like steel pan music fast or whether you like it mellow, Panyard 23 is the place to go.
A lawsuit has been brought against the Minister of Natural Resources for the compulsory acquisition of a parcel of land in San Pedro. The property belonged to Reef Village Development 2 Limited and was acquired by government for use as an easement by the San Pedro Town Council. According to Attorney Dean Barrow, government failed to follow the required procedures in going about with the land acquisition. His clients are seeking to have the process voided and the land returned to them.
The Compulsory Acquisition Act requires that for the Minister of Lands to acquire any private property compulsorily, the minister must publish declarations to that effect in the Government Gazette. The minister complied with the law and published those declarations, and the law is that after the requisite number of publications has been complied with, the land automatically becomes the property of the government. Now, of course, to put flesh on the bone, so to speak, to make that the practical consequences or the practical repercussions of the acquisition require that the registrar, that the register showing ownership of the property acquired by the government be adjusted to reflect the new state of affairs, the fact that there is new ownership of the acquired property and that new ownership is in the name of the government of Belize. So all that was done and resulted in the compulsory acquisition of our client's property.
According to Barrow, residents who own properties adjacent to the parcel in question had indicated to the San Pedro Town Council that they were essentially blocked off from access to the main road.
It is the San Pedro Town Council that wrote to the Prime Minister, and I believe that was copied to the Minister of Lands, asking government to acquire this particular parcel because the San Pedro Town Council wanted to use it for construction of premises for use of the San Pedro Police Department, and also indeed to provide some kind of right of way over that property. The San Pedro Town Council suggested that there were people who were hemmed in terms of getting to the sort of main road. People who had properties behind this particular property. So it appears from the correspondence we have seen that the San Pedro Town Council had at least two objectives in mind, but in terms of what the minister declared in the public notices, that was limited to merely for a public easement. the law is quite clear. The minister was required not just to publish his acquisition notices in the government gazette, but to place a copy of the notice on the property being acquired. He did not do that. He may have, the law allows him to, in lieu of putting a notice, a copy of the acquisition notice on the property itself, somewhere prominent in the area immediately adjoining the property. Did not do that. The law also says that after the declarations have been published, the minister is required to notify, apart from the public notice measure that the minister must take, the minister is required to let the owner or previous owner, since the acquisition takes effect once he's finished with his publications, the minister is required to enter into discussions with that owner about the possibility of settling the matter, agreeing on a figure, a compensation figure, which would then mean that the compulsory acquisition, having started in that form, would, as it were, mutate.
He performed in Belize over the weekend and has already returned to his home country of Trinidad. But mashup king DJ Kai says he was allegedly robbed while staying at the Ramada Hotel in Belize City. Shemi Julian Camps took to social media about the ordeal, which happened on Sunday morning shortly after he had returned to his hotel room after performing. In the video, which has gone viral, the popular disc jockey is blaming the hotel's lack of security for the alleged incident. DJ Kai says that a man broke into his hotel room and stole money from his wallet. Here's his recount of the ordeal, where he woke up to find a man in his room.
I decided to take a sleep, minutes to 5, and so I was on the bed here, right? I was on the bed, I was sleeping, and I just woke up like this. I just woke up, but I was really tired, but I still woke up. Something woke me up, I don't know what it is. Walking off the bed, there's a guy standing right here. Well, crouch walking, looking left and right. My glasses off, I don't see properly, I need my glasses, right? So if you see me with glasses, all my glasses tested. So I think in his room service, I wake up, even though it's 5 minutes, I wake up stupid, and so much happened in a short space of time. I watch him, and then he dressed back. You know what I did? I literally rushed the guy, so I ran with speed. He ran outside, the door was left open, of course, and I just pushed the door, came right here, right, dial 0, called the lobby, talked to the security, told them about the situation. While I was talking, my voice was trembling, I still shaking talking about the story, right, because, wow. And so he came up, I told him about the situation, and then I had a friend came over, she assisted. Police came a little while after. This experience killed my whole vibe. My whole vibe. At this point, I don't care how good I play. I'm not feeling to post up no reels. I just feeling to go home because it killed the vibe, dog. And to actually experience something like this, we reading and we seen all these home invasions and all this crime happening, and to come in our next country and experience it in a hotel, the Ramada Hotel in Belize. Right? And it was because of the lack of security. Anyone is coming up in the hotel, anybody could just walk up and go anywhere. You know? People might have their family and stuff coming in, but it's just an opportunity for crime to happen. And I was hearing a bang though before I slept. I was hearing a bang, but I didn't pay it no mind. So I don't know if it was the same guy who was probably checking to see if anyone was in the room.
The suspect was caught in an adjacent room. News 5 has reached out to the hotel via Facebook, WhatsApp, and phone calls, but our request for comment has gone unanswered. It's been only a few months since the Coastal Plain Highway has been officially opened, and commuters have been enjoying the comfort of the roadway to transit south. But today, a News 5 team traveling the highway captured images of a tanker having crashed into a guardrail on the right-hand side of the road when traveling towards Democracia. Chief Engineer Evandale Moody tells News 5 that this is the fourth crash that has been recorded, which has damaged the infrastructure put in place. The road project, which cost over $130 million, does include a defects liability period. However, it does not take into account accidents. Moody says that they are looking to the insurance companies to pay for these damages.
I'm aware that a tanker has crashed into a section of the guardrail. That is a continuous problem for myself and also for the ministry. At this point in time, the road is still under the defects liability period. And so it's difficult for us to toll it now because we still have to go through that defects period. But instead of, which is good, instead of having defects in terms of the road surface and the road pavement, we're having these accidents that are destroying all the safety features that we've put in place, because from my recollection, this is the fourth accident that has damaged guardrails and sign. And of the first three, I have initiated a claim against the insurance companies for those drivers and those vehicles that were involved in accidents. I was just telling our CEO just this morning that I have not received any update back from these insurance companies, because the damages that are being caused to our highways and our infrastructure, these are third-party damages. And so the people of Belize cannot expect that we will just get funds back and go and replace it. I mean, we have invested over $130 million in the upgrade of the coastal highway, and people are speeding. You have drunk drivers. They're not respecting the speed limits. We have a lot of signs there, a lot of safety measures has been put in place, and they're not being respected. And so we have to go after the insurance companies to get back funding to replace these guardrails, because they're not cheap. For every meter of guardrail, we are spending approximately $300 per meter. That's like for every 3 feet. And so if we just leave it like that, the government will continuously have to spend to repair the main highways.
Up next, when will Vernon Street stoplight be repaired?
In April, the Customs Enforcement Unit intercepted 2 containers of fake Nike Air Jordans imported into the Corozal Free Zone from China. The 2 containers, valued at $500,000, were consigned to a company owned by this man, Mr. Gulab Sharma. Yes, this is the same Gulab Sharma involved with the Dirty Definitive Agreement. The same Gulab Sharma behind the Portico project that will destroy 1,000 acres of pristine mangroves. But the Customs Department refused to condone his illegal activity. They burnt the 2 containers of fake illegal Air Jordans. Belizeans are wondering what the U.S. Embassy in Belize will make of this flagrant attempt to infringe trademark laws. What will they make of a government that is now crafting special legislation for this same Gulab?
Get ready, babe. We're going on a vacation.
Finally, where are we going?
Don't worry, babe. I have we covered.
Are you sure you know where we're going?
Yes, babe. Oh, right there, see? Babe, the price me too good to be true. Me look much more better in that picture.
When life throws you a curveball, Belize Bank has your back. With our online financing, you can turn any vacation mishap into a dream getaway.
Cheers to Belize Bank for making our dream vacation a reality.
Thanks to you, be able to turn things around.
No thanks to you, cheapo.
Out.
Experience the future of financing with Belize Bank online, where you can secure funds for anything, from anywhere, at any time, all without stepping foot in a bank. Apply for a loan today and unlock a world of possibilities.
Get between Belize City, Key Cocker, and San Pedro on a ferry faster than anyone else with Caribbean Sprinter. You better Belize it. Get with us online at sprinter.bz.
Smart introduces Real Unlimited Postpaid Plans, providing customers with unlimited talk, unlimited text, and unlimited data. Now that's a real great deal. With Smart Plus, Share 1 and 2, and Enterprise 1 and 2 plans, you can talk as much as you want, text as much as you want, and for the first time ever in Belize, you can enjoy unlimited data with your postpaid plan. So come in and sign up for an unlimited postpaid plan and enjoy limitless possibilities. In addition, other plans such as the Flex Junior, Choice, and Select have been boosted with a lot more talk, text, and data, providing you with the best value for your budget. Be unlimited with Smart. It's time to power your dollar with Smart.
Prime Minister John Briceño, you know that in April your Customs Department destroyed 2 containers of fake, illegal Nike Air Jordans valued at $1 million. You know those containers were consigned to a company owned by Mr. Gulab Sharma. You know that this is now on the radar of the United States government. You also know that Gulab Sharma's company, Portico, signed an illegal and fraudulent definitive agreement with Minister Erwin Contreras. Yet you and Chris Koyi are hell-bent on passing a special law that will give Gulab Sharma's company Portico tens of millions in tax benefits. Why, Prime Minister? If you won't explain it to the Belizean people, maybe you'll explain it to the Senate committee.
The Central American Boulevard, although within Belize City, falls within the purview of the Ministry of Infrastructure Development and Housing. And so the repairs of the stoplight at the intersection of Vernon Street and the boulevard is its responsibility. The traffic light system at this heavily used intersection was damaged during Hurricane Lisa last year. Today, News 5 asked Chief Engineer Evandale Moody for an update on when it is expected to be fixed. He says that the contractor is at this time trying to source the parts needed to repair the stoplight.
I just recently had a discussion with Cisco Construction because they were the one that had installed that light for us a few years ago. And so I spoke with them just last week to see if they could initiate contact with the supplier because I understand from discussions with them that we need some parts. And so they're trying to see if they could seek those parts for the ministry and to try and get them reinstalled to get that light up and running back again.
So how much is that going to cost us?
We haven't received the estimate as yet from the contractor, and so we're still waiting on that because they're all electronic parts. And so that's one of the issues that we have with traffic lights in the country is that we don't have parts readily available for us to change out those parts, and so we have to rely on the supplier outside of Belize to get those parts. Sometimes when we order these lights, some of these components of the traffic light become obsolete. And so it's difficult for us to find parts for them. And so that is what the contractor is trying to seek so that he could advise us on what it would cost for them to get it up and running again. But as soon as we could get that information, we will try and initiate that to get those lights back.
Today, youth from across the country gathered inside the Toucan Hall at the Best Western Belize Biltmore Plaza Hotel for an event on the national celebrations calendar. It was the Belize at 42 Creative Youth Ideas Summit, the concept for which was born 3 years ago when Minister of Culture Francis Fonseca also took over as chairman of the National Celebrations Commission. Today, he shared with News 5 that he felt there was an absence of young people in terms of our national discussions about the state of our nation. In that light, he said, he reached out back then to the National Student Union of Belize and so began the conceptualization of the summit, an event that would bring together young people from different organizations and schools across Belize. Fonseca says that the future of the country lies in the hands of our youth, and they need to take up the mantle from now to chart the course ahead.
We have school leaders here, we have young presidents of different youth movements. Really to have an engaging discussion each year on the celebrations calendar about the state of our nation. Where are we? This year, where are we at 42? What do you think Belize is doing for our young people? How do you see your future in Belize? These are important questions for young people. So I think it's an incredibly important event. Obviously, you know, it continue to grow over the years. And as I said in my remarks to the young people this morning, I challenge them to become engaged, more engaged in the development of our country, more engaged in the economy, more engaged in the work of education, more engaged in the blue economy, the green economy, the orange economy, which I believe are the future in terms of Belize's economic development. And I also encourage them and challenge them to get fully engaged and involved with the People's Constitution Commission. Very critical work being done now by that commission. How will Belize be governed for the next 50 or 100 years? They have an opportunity to participate meaningfully in that discussion and to guide that discussion.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available at channel5belize.com, on our Facebook and on YouTube. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at News 5, good night.